This woman does not believe that women can ever be therapists because why have jobs, guys, when you can stay home, push out babies, and love your husband? This woman does not believe that you can ever be gay.
Why are you gay?
You are gay.
Or get a divorce because she thinks that God would condemn that. No, He will condemn that. This woman believes that we as women should embrace our traditional gender role, but never call her a tradwife because she will be very offended. This woman has millions and millions of followers all over the world. Her followers watch her make sourdough from scratch, cook her organic farm Instagram-worthy dishes, take care of her kids who all behave the same and for some reason only wear neutral color clothes, drink milk straight from her cow's boobers, sell her not so organic vegetables to her tradwife wannabe audience, but they don't know that. They also don't know that her life is not as perfect as it seems on her Instagram. Her husband is like a Kennedy, her father-in-law and the entire family line, so all the sons, of course, they're all sons, are running to be America's next top presidents and senators. But the father-in-law, though, let me tell you about him. He's promoting the American dream, the true American dream. You know what that is? According to him, it's women stay home while men work. Every man in the family wants to rule America except for her husband. He want to work, yes. Her husband wants to be a kindergarten teacher. When she heard that, she almost threw up. What the Oh, I'm sorry, God. Forgive me. Because this woman would never curse in her mind without apologizing to the big man up there, the Lord. Even when she comes in the bedroom, she tells the Lord, show me your light. Which I feel like the big man up there would be like, girl, that's your business. Don't bring me into this. The story is unhinged, to say the least. The craziest thing though is that she goes to sleep being this like millionaire tradwife influencer and she wakes up with 0 penny to her name. She's not even in the 2000s. She goes to sleep in the 2000s and she wakes up in the 1800s. How did that happen? We're gonna uncover some of that today. Our story today centers around the topic of, being a traditional wife. Is it the real definition? I don't think so, but I fear I might have offended some people. So let me just put like a disclaimer here, okay? This does not represent anything about being a traditional wife, okay? I got no qualms about anyone of any gender or no gender wanting to take care of their home. It's a full-time job. It's respectable. It can be so rewarding, but also so emotionally and physically draining, especially if you got kids or family members to take care of. I grew up with stay-at-home moms who had to find their own source of income because of money problem with infidelity and just, uncertainty within the marriage and just in life. And yet, all of these women raised me and made my childhood bomb as fuck. I might never be as happy as I was when I was a kid, really. So these women, they are bomb as fuck. So that is to say that the problem is not wanting to take care of your home, okay? Now, with that said, today we're gonna jump into the most viral, unhinged, controversial, surreal, mind-boggling, world-spinning story of Yesteryear by Caro Claire Burke. This is her first novel, and it exploded out of nowhere. Like, Anne Hathaway already said she plans to bring the story to life. She wants to be the she that we just talked about. I'm very excited to watch Verity, which Anne Hathaway also helped produce. I have done a story time on Verity if you want to check it out. And welcome to the Midnight Library, my friend. I'm your host, Midori. Welcome to the Midnight Library. This is the place for you to enjoy a good story while you go about your day, or, keep you company while you get your chores done, or maybe you just want to relax and indulge in a good story, girl. With that said, no. Ladies and gentlemen, because I'm getting comments that some of you are gentlemen too. Welcome, welcome. Let me introduce you to Natalie, because Natalie is telling us everything. Everything in this story is from her perspective. And keep your ears peeled because Natalie is going to lose everything. The first thing that you must know about Natalie is that she's perfecto. She wakes up 2 minutes before the alarm goes off, never touched the snooze button ever before in her life. She doesn't drink, she doesn't have problems with being disciplined. She has never had a problem with life. Motherhood, easy. Marriage, rich. Building a business, flourished. Serving the Lord, always. She's a flawless Christian woman. Oh my God, I love Calypso. That's why people follow her. She makes it look so easy. According to Natalie, this is how she would describe herself. She's the manic, pixie American dream girl of this nation's deepest, darkest fantasies. The mom that every woman wanted to be. The wife that every man wanted to come home to like a nun in a poem. It didn't make sense, but also, by God, it worked. That is Natalie Heller Mills, the perfect human being. More than that, okay, Natalie is also an owner of a farm, all 500 acres of it, sitting right between two mountains in Idaho, far away from the city. Disgusting, modern human being surrounded by trees, forest, pasture, apple, orchid, and a river so long and so filled with trouts. This land used to be a rattle ranch, but Natalie and her husband, Caleb, bought it for over $1 million, and now it's known to the world as Yesteryear Ranch or Yesteryear Farm. Every single morning, she wakes up and the first thing that she hears is buck, 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 buck. Oh, her sweet chickens. She loves them so much. Sometimes she would just even go out there and sit with her ladies. That is what she calls her chicken, okay? Natalie also so enjoy petting their silky neck and them pecking at her palms. So cute. They'll be dead soon. Natalie's mouth is watering now. Oh my God. Look at these chickens. I'm gonna get some fresh bone broth from y'all. Once you have made it from scratch, you can never go back. Other than the chickens, Natalie also hears her cows, all named Sassafras. I can't say that. Sassafras. And all the Sassafras going, moo, 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 as Caleb squeezes their boobies. And Natalie thinks to herself, that man is good. Natalie's husband, Caleb, let's talk more about him, okay? He's the youngest of 5 boys. According to Natalie, he's the rut of the litter in an American dynasty. His father is the latest senator in a long line of US senators. And this is his 3rd time running to be America's next president, okay? The thing is, Natalie really, in a way, admires Caleb's father. She low-key wishes that Caleb would be more like his father because she thinks that that is what a man should be like. And she would, if you catch my drift. Just wait, okay? What about Caleb's mother? She's a homemaker, drowning in Chardonnay. That lady has some problem. I mean, if I were married to Caleb's father, I would have some problems too. And what do you get? Putting a wannabe president and a walking Chardonnay together. A soft, spoiled, sweet little boy, Caleb. But no matter, Natalie loves Caleb because more than being soft, spoiled, sweet, and clueless about his life, Caleb is willing to learn. That is how Natalie would describe her husband, willing to learn. Not that my husband is smart, creative, or a thinker. My husband is just willing to learn. What does that mean? You tell me in the comments down below. Back to Natalie, the flawless Christian woman. She's 32 this year and she has not 1, not 2, not 3, wait for it, 6 kids. And every day she prays to the Lord. Thank you, Father, for Caleb. Thank you for the inheritance. Thank you for Clementine, Samuel, Stetson, Jessa, Junebug. If you're thinking, did she really say a bug? Yes, I did. May, June, June, plus Ladybug's bug, plus one little one they have yet to name yet in her tummy. Natalie is 6 months pregnant. She can pop one right after the other because she's born to be a mother. She even tells us, I have never felt more connected to him than when I was tasked with carrying one of his creations. Natalie continues with her prayer. Thank you for watching over the farm animals, Lord, especially the chicken, because I'm gonna chop, chop, chop and eat them. Although we are a no-kill farm, Thank you for helping us pass 5 million on Instagram this week. We are only a few souls away from 1 million on YouTube. Lord, it's through your will and your will alone that I've reached so many hearts and minds. It's in your name that I work to spread your truth. If you're thinking, that girl, Natalie, you are quite religious. Yes, she is. And you'll see whether it's in a good way or a bad way. I feel like you already have a good feeling where this is gonna go, okay? Natalie is a millionaire. She's famous. She got 6 kids. She hates it when people call her a tradwife. She embraces the life of a stay-at-home mom, a wife, and an influencer. What's wrong with that? It's hard. It's like seducing 3 lovers at the same time. And so it makes sense for her to hire help. She got 2 nannies and a producer, but you would never see her nannies online, or anyone who works at the farm. You would never see them online because they're like family. She values their privacy. The world is so cruel. She would never put them in the spotlight like that. She also doesn't like it when people know that she hired people to help around the farm. Whenever they do find out though, she would just say, pregnancy brain. She hates that phrase, but it works. Let's go back to Natalie when she wakes up, okay? The moment that Natalie leaves her bedroom and as soon as the kids see her, they're like, morning mama, morning mama, morning mama, one after the other. Then she would go around kissing them on the cheek because it's perfect. She lives the perfect life. The girls, they look just like her. They got freckles, sharp faces, dark brown hair, and they always just wear a very serious expression just like Natalie for some reason, but they're so young. But these girls, they would braid each other's hairs. They would carry each other like dolls. They're like frowning little lovely fairies. The boys though, they look like Caleb, red cheeks, big toothy smiles. They got long shoulder length hair and they are always around their father. They look up to their father. But both the boys and the girls, they all behave the same. They laugh the same. They speak the same. They only wear neutral color cotton clothes for some reason. Again, it's weird, but that's the thing. People see this online and they're like, ain't no way these kids act like this in real life. They're putting on a show. And these people, according to Natalie, are usually angry, and they are usually women. Natalie can't stand these angry women. The world does not need to see her boys bickering and fighting, or one of them throwing tantrums every single day because he can't do his math homework. Natalie knows that her son is a little bit stupid, but she loves him. And because a mother's job is to protect her children from the world, if these angry women knew this about her kids, man, they would be bloodthirsty. Natalie thinks to herself, didn't these angry women understand? I'm a shark, and there are nothing but 5 million tiny fish nipping at the nutrients along my belly. Little idiots. They are desperate to eat me. They have no idea that I was the one who is keeping them alive. Natalie's kids, okay, I believe that they don't go to school, but they're homeschooled, they're schooled by the nannies. I'm pretty sure you know why they don't go to school. They don't have phones, and naturally they're not on social media. So that means the world knows a lot about them and they don't know who is actually watching them. Natalie is a-okay with that as long as her kids don't have phone, as long as they have 0 access to screen time. Natalie says, have you seen the studies of what screen time does to a children's brain? If you ask me, my children are so much off better just sometimes showing up in my video than being an iPad kid. I mean, really, it's so sad. You should look into that. This lady needs to get some pills. I don't know what pills because she got a lot of problems. I think she needs vitamin C. Now, let's talk about the producer who works with Natalie. Her name is Shannon. She's gonna come in later like a wamp in a little while, so I need you to remember her. Shannon started working for Natalie when she was just 19 years old. Being Natalie's producer means that you're gonna live in the farm with Natalie and her family and everyone who works for them. The farm itself is very far away from the closest city. I believe it's about 1 hour. To think that Shannon dropped out of an art school, Barnard, to come work here, she might have really wanted this job, right? She did. That's the truth. She was eager. She was excited to meet Natalie. Shannon believed that Natalie's work was the future. Being an entrepreneur, working for yourself. Natalie, who showed the world how she operated in real life, how she monetized all of it. Shannon believed in earning a living that way. But physically, Shannon, like looking at Shannon, she's the last person that you would expect to work for someone like Natalie. She had pink hair and a nose ring. And Natalie did not like that. Of course she didn't. God condemned a nose ring and pink hair. 2 years later, Shannon is still here. The nose ring is still here, but the pink hair is gone because she has no access to hair dye. Natural brown hair it is. Shannon is no longer eager. She sounds disinterested. She wants to leave, and to be honest, Natalie wants her gone ever since she arrived. Shannon recently has been having a recurring dream. Shannon dreams that this farm was suddenly just burn up and she would try to run away and she would hear the animals screaming, and when she turns back to look at the farm, she could see Natalie, Caleb, and the kids just standing there, waving to her, trying to say something to her. Shannon did not tell Natalie about this dream. One of the nannies told Natalie after Shannon told them about this dream, and Natalie just can't help but think about this dream. Like, think about the sequence of events, you know, the burning, the farm, Shannon running away, and Natalie also thinks about what happens. Like, what do you think happened after Shannon's dream? After her family waved to Shannon, then the sky would open up and the Lord would save everyone. But Shannon, what a shame. The Lord doesn't have a favorite, but Shannon should know that he favors Natalie and her family. Not the girl with the nose ring, and the dream is him telling her exactly that. This is something that Shannon would never understand. You see? You see what I'm talking about? She needs 2 vitamin C's per day. Have you ever heard of the saying, don't meet your hero? I was just thinking about this before I went to sleep yesterday, which was weird. But maybe that was what happened to Shannon, okay? Things with Natalie is not what it seems online. And Natalie knew it. Natalie's kitchen, aka America's most beloved kitchen, is curated. Half-filled mason jar of water right there. A flaw spilled right there. Some flower stem over here. A row of windows right next to the island so you get that beautiful sunlight shining in. These are all intentional because people wouldn't want something that is not used. Something that is not lived in. People are such a morons. Natalie said that, not me. Okay, I'm just a messenger. People think that they want minimalism. They think that they want a house absent of stuff, when in fact, a perfectly uncluttered home makes them want to off themselves. A space must look lived in for someone to actually want to live in it. And just Natalie standing in her messy kitchen with the sunlight shining in. Natalie feels 6 years younger. That is God's given plastic surgery. You might be wondering, girl, does she have any work done? What do you think? What do you think Natalie would say to that? Yes. Maybe. Wait. Here's what she'll say. God, no. I'm sorry. No offense to those who have. But me, personally, me, I would never. She had work done. She calls them like this. Okay, I need to schedule an appointment at my house. You're gonna have to come here. Okay, don't tell anyone, okay? You're gonna sign an NDA. Never once in a million years she had ever thought of confessing this because angry woman. Mom, Natalie's oldest, first child, Clementine, calls out. She just turned 12 and she stopped calling Natalie Mama a few days after. Natalie hates the word Mom. What an ugly sound. So short. Mom. So masculine. Unlike Mama. Yes, honey? Clementine asks. What does Tradwife mean? Who said that to you? What? Is it bad? Tradwife, Tradwife, Tradwife. Natalie's other kids start giggling and mocking and laughing again and again. How the hell did Clementine learn that word? Why is she asking this in front of her younger siblings? Natalie knew that Clementine was just like her, sharp, in here. And Natalie is low-key scared of that. What if one day she comes around and question everything that she did? In Natalie's word, she thinks that Clementine holds her intelligence like a knife behind her back. And that's why Natalie must never show that she cares. She says, I know that trad is short for traditional. Some people call women like me a traditional wife for obvious reasons. She wanted to be more specific. Only the angry woman called her Tradwife. Angry woman. Let me tell you about those. Those women who pick up their phones and join Reddit forums about Tradwife or Yesteryear Rant and about her every single night. Natalie sees all the comments before, like, Tradwives are ruining the country by staying married. Tradwives are destroying the country because they're spending time with their children. And Natalie would reply, oh my goodness, heaven forbid. Natalie rotates between 6 anon burner accounts on Reddit. Well, Natalie thinks being called a tradwife is actually not so bad compared to other names. Cult leader, breeder. Natalie tells Clementine and her 2 other young girls, I don't personally think that celebrating tradition is bad, do you? Natalie 2 young girls shake their heads and look up at her lovingly while Clementine just stare at her. So you're saying that you are a tradwife? Clementine, why don't you just tell me who told you that I was a tradwife? No one. Jeez, I was just asking a question. Clementine gets up and she leaves, and Natalie is unhappy. Natalie thinks it must be one of the nannies. They have phones and they're always leaving it around the house. Maybe Clementine got her hand on one. Clementine is practically a woman now, and her little ones are still so young and impressionable. Clementine cannot be trusted. She knows it's wrong for a mother to think that of her own child, but still, you're going to learn that there are many things that Natalie keeps to herself. She's like one of those school moms who laugh with other school moms and then only go home and gossip and complain about them. Can you believe it? Her skirt was so short. But when, she was in front of the school mom, she'd be like, oh my God, I love your skirt. Or, why was she wearing those stripper heels to pick up her kids? Jeez. And in front of the mom, she would be like, oh my God, you can walk in that? That's so cool. She's giving that. There are many things Natalie is that she does not show to the world. Like, Natalie would be okay if one day her kids grow up to be influencers. Natalie would say, oh, they can be anything they want as long as they're happy. I just want them to be happy. Natalie would tell the world that her kids are so okay with being on camera. In fact, they love being on camera. Is that true? You're gonna find out very soon, okay? Natalie's farm, Yesteryear Ranch, is so very popular, let me tell you. It has 5 million followers on Instagram. It's giving, this book is heavily inspired by I'm not gonna say that because I feel bad. I don't even know I don't follow them, so I don't want to accuse them of anything, but it's a lot of people say it's heavily inspired by a very popular Instagram account, okay? And this Natalie's farm is just as popular. Like, it has 5 million on Instagram, 1 million on YouTube. Natalie has a store online. That bestseller is, of course, a sourdough. Of course it is. I am at the age where I'm about to start sourdoughing, I'm not even kidding. Why buy bread when I can kombucha my bread, Back to Natalie's Yesteryear Ranch. Here's a sample of their content. Because Natalie do have a product, they would mix product content with their lifestyle content. Shannon would be the one filming. It's all about showing you the natural routine of a traditional wife with 6 happy kids and a hardworking husband around the ranch. For example, Shannon would film Natalie kneading the dough for like 4 hours and then compress everything to 30 minutes. That woman is very hardworking, and for a reason. You're gonna find out. Then after that, they would film what they're having for dinner. For example, today is Sunday. They're going to make a Sunday roast. And because they are a no-kill farm, they will source their beef from the supermarket on the other side of the mountain. And if they ever need eggs, they just walk over to the chicken coop. By the way, her chicken coop is $30,000. It has technologies that will open and close during sunrise and sunset to protect the chickens from foxes, lions, and bears. That is a fancy, fancy chicken coop. I feel like someone could rent that and live there. Just picture this. Blue skies, no chicken shit smell for some reason. Jessa and Junebug, Natalie, two little ones clinging to her skirt, all wearing their boots. They're smiling, they're walking to say hi to the chickens. When they get there, Natalie would say, "Hello, ladies. How are y'all doing today?" Sometimes Shannon would mess up and she would ask Natalie to do it all over again. And the truth is, Natalie is perfecto. She could do this 1,000,000 times over on command, no problemo. So she does. They start again. Natalie with the kids approaching the chicken coop. Natalie says, "Hello, ladies. How are y'all doing today?" Then from behind Natalie and the girls, Caleb asks, "I say, is that Marilyn Monroe by the chicken coop?" And Natalie would laugh. Turn around as Caleb grabs Natalie by the waist, dip her low, and kiss her inside the chicken coop. And the girls would be cheering them on. Yay! Y'all, I don't know if you have ever been inside a chicken coop. My grandmother used to have a chicken coop. If you were ever lost in our village, just follow the smell of the chicken, rancid smell, chicken poop, and you will find our home. And there will be no cheering. I can guarantee you that. Back to Natalie. She tells Caleb shyly and coyly, "We are filming, Caleb." A moment for the viewers to tell the couple, "You guys are my relationship goals. If I don't have this, I don't want it." Natalie knew that was gold, but Shannon tells them immediately, "Oh, actually, we're not filming." I paused before Caleb spoke, so you are good? If you want to take a quick break, I can go get some coffee. Before Natalie could even respond, Shannon is already walking away. Turns out Shannon is upset about something and both Caleb and Natalie knew it. Caleb is brushing it off, saying like, Shannon's gonna feel better soon. And Natalie tells him, "You don't understand women at all, do you?" And that is when she realizes she's being watched by her two little ones, Jessa and Junebug. Natalie quickly gets her act together and she tells Caleb, "Get back to work, cowboy." And she plants a kiss on his cheek and the girls claps and laughs. That's my perfect mommy and daddy. Later that evening, Natalie decides to go to Target with the kids. This is not like your weekly thing, okay? She tries to minimize these trips to once a month. Target's consumer is not Natalie. What do you mean, healthy nacho chips? No, that's not good for you. Don't you know that they are ultra processed? Don't even mention soda, sugary drinks. Oh my God, you make me sick. The kids, however, they love these trips. They love their whipped cream filled Starbucks drinks once a month, cake pops, browsing around the clothing racks, jewelry stands, and all the colorful packaging on everything like body lotion, anything at all. Look at the store. There's so many colors. Natalie? When Natalie turns around, she sees her high school classmate, Vanessa. I just want you to picture this, okay? Natalie turning around with a perfect smile because she's an influencer. She's like 5 billion followers influencer, right? She needs to keep up image. She's turning around with her perfect smile with her all neutral color clothed kids standing around her, and she sees someone who is normal clothes, holding a small girl, pushing a cart full of normal essential things like disposable razors, disposable tissues, some packaged ham, and all that jazz, the things that you and I would get. What do you think Natalie would think of Vanessa or of us? Oh, yep. Oh. She can almost smell the stink of all these disposable processed stuff that Vanessa is looking to buy, and Natalie can't help but feels sorry for Vanessa and her daughter, Zoe. Zoe is a few years younger than Clementine, so she's probably 8 or 9. Natalie introduces her kids to Vanessa and she tells Natalie, "You know, I really admire your commitment to the olden days with those names, Clementine, Jessa, and Junebug," Vanessa says. "Is that a dig?" Natalie's brain goes, "Yup." She smiles a little bit wider, Natalie does. "Here we go. Of course. Vanessa hates me. She grew up in a very strict, very religious household, and now she claims that she's progressive, modern. She eats organic now, but she's at Target. Women like this hate women like me. Of course they do. But you know what they do? When they do go to a party, they'll pull up my Instagram. And then they'll show it to everyone around them and say, I went to school with her, you know? I know she's famous now, but I went to school with her. But can you imagine being so traditional? Traditional people are stupid. Women like Vanessa think whoever choose to live a different life are idiots. Idiots, idiots, idiots. Because the truth is, they're jealous. They're jealous because I went to Harvard with straight A's. Yep, Natalie majored in theology in Harvard. Unlike Vanessa, who ping-ponged her life through rooms of rugby players in Michigan. Yes, of course, I checked her Instagram from time to time. Women like Vanessa are jealous because I practice what I preach. I eat local. I support small businesses. I reduce waste. And let me tell you one thing. No amount of money in this world could have ever gotten me to put these things in my cart. No amount of smooth brain, social acceptance could have ever gotten me to name my daughter something so toothlessly trendy. Something so desperately shouted, pick me, as the cunt. Sorry, Lord. My anger was getting the best of me these days. I know it's a problem. I plan to fix it. I swear I will fix it. I pity her, but also, Lord, fuck her. Sorry, Lord, but really, fuck her. Because Lord, Vanessa probably even dreams about cooking with me in my perfect kitchen while our kids run around the farm. Those dreams run so deep and so humiliating. You know what? As humiliating as watching lesbo corn on low volume while her husband lays right next to her at night. Because Vanessa does look like the kind of woman who does exactly that. And you know what I say to that? Grind away, Vanessa. Go ahead and grind away. Dream about me, and when you can't take it anymore, you will bite the bullet and you will go to my store and you will buy a little something from my farm. And then maybe you will mail it to your friend's house because you wouldn't want me to find that, would ya? It's wonderful to see you again, Vanessa. You should come over sometime. I bet you would love to see where ham comes from, wouldn't you? Say you'll come sometime. Please, just say it. Vanessa looks so uncomfortable, but she tells Natalie yes for the sake of just, getting rid of Natalie, I guess. By the time that Natalie gets back to her car, she's angry AF. She was not angry just now. Now she's angry. Vanessa, that bitch, is for sure going to post about me in one of my snark forums about how I shop at Target, and I will have to suffer a whole week of online commentary. And Shannon, don't even get me started on Shannon. Shannon, the nerve, the absolute unbelievable nerve of that spoiled, uneducated, morally bankrupt little son of a... And then she stops because she realizes her kids are right behind her and she's screaming inside the car. And this is not winning. She wants to win and this is not it. So she will be one step ahead. She picks up the phone and she starts filming her little perfect life. Girls, what did you get at our very special trip to Target today? The two little ones, they're so excited, but Clementine asked Natalie to stop filming her. And Natalie starts feeling angry again. Clementine has never told her that before. Clementine, I didn't know that you were unhappy being filmed. I have always told you to tell me if you felt that way, haven't I? The truth is, Natalie never told Clementine that, but Natalie also can never put the perfect mom play down, so she stays smiling when Clementine tells her, well, I'm telling you now that I don't want to be filmed. Natalie keeps smiling to herself, trying to contain her anger, and she smiles throughout the entire drive home. After the trip, they're home, they have dinner, and when it's time for bed, when Natalie is settling in bed with Caleb, she receives an email from Shannon. She's quitting. That's a resignation letter. Resignation letter. I hope I said that correctly. I can't say some word, and I use British accent to to frame it. Anyway, Shannon does not want to work for Natalie or Caleb anymore because of something that happened over the summer and all the nightmares that she has been having. But she ends the email with, for what it's worth, I don't think that you are a bad person, Natalie. I think you're just confused. Please tell the kids I love them. Natalie's blood pressure is up the roof. But Caleb is right next to her and he's going like, hello, is anybody there? Because Caleb is telling Natalie about how he wants to run for presidency, not because he really wants to, but because his father is asking him to. Again, Caleb's family is like the Kennedy. They are like politics royalty, okay? And Caleb's father is like the real life John Wayne. So allow me to tell you a little bit about Caleb's background so you understand this more, and also Caleb more, and Caleb's father more. No, I'm really just going to tell you about Caleb's father because he wears the pants in the family. He's called Doug. Doug Mills, huge build, broad shoulders. When he walks into a room, you'll feel him before you even see him. He's the ultimate patriarch, according to Natalie, okay? He was a war veteran. He values traditionalism. And something that he shares in common with Natalie is that they both believe there was no otherwise. So that means it's their way or the highway. Natalie had everything in order. She knew how she wanted this thing to unfold until Shannon came in. Because what happened last summer was that Shannon slept with Natalie's husband, Caleb. And then Natalie thinks about the letter. I don't think that you are a bad person. What a bold thing to say to the wife of the guy that you slept with. Natalie turns back to look at her husband. She's so mad. She wants to throw this phone across the room and yell at him. Look at this. Look at this. Look at what you've done. You are this useless, stupid, can't keep his pee-pee in his pants husband. Look at what you have done. This was never part of my plan. Look at us now. We are in a PR disaster, and she could already see the headlines like, allegation against the Instagram famous family. Is Natalie Mills a cult leader? Former producer speaks out. Oh my God. But a headline like that would not destroy someone who's trying to pursue a political career, because come on. We don't care about morality. If anything, it might even boost his stupid career, and maybe Natalie's too. People would probably feel pity for her. Poor pregnant lady doing her best to keep her family together. But there's no need to tell Caleb about any of this now. Caleb, who is willing to learn. Oh my God. If he found out about Shannon quitting, he would probably do something stupid, like running to Shannon and beg her not to leave in front of a crowd of people. So Natalie tells Caleb, I bet you'll be president one day, just like your father. Now, let's pray on it, honey. And so Natalie prays for their family, and Caleb is also praying. He's probably praying for the family, the farm, and hopefully he gets a BJ tonight, if that's not too much to ask for, Lord. And give me strength, Lord. I would like to become a legend. That is what Natalie thinks Caleb is praying for. We don't know what he's praying for. Natalie thinks that men in general are so embarrassing because they all want to be legends. Unlike men, Natalie doesn't want to be a legend. She wants to be something easier. She wants more than what she has. That's simple. And also she wants the world to see itself through her eyes only. And so she concludes her prayer. Please, let this plan work, Lord. Please don't let her win. And give my husband a spine. I'm tired of him needing to borrow mine. Amen. So now you have a good mental picture of Natalie. She jumps to conclusion. On top of everything, she jumps to conclusion. So is she a reliable or a not reliable narrator? You tell me. Fast forward a few months later, there's an interview of Natalie. The interviewer asks, Mr. Heller Mills, would you like to comment on these horrific allegations of assault at Yesteryear Ranch? So something did happen. So assuming that Shannon already quit a few months later, this would have something to do with her, right? We're going to circle back to this way later, but just remember. And Natalie hears this question and she tells the interviewer that she unfortunately cannot comment on ongoing legal investigation. And so now We are at the part where Natalie's life is going to change. But before that, if you're still here, you are liking the vibes, remember to subscribe, like, hit that hype button, and comment down below what you think of the story so far. I would love to hear from you. How many vitamin C do you think she needs? Back to Natalie. She goes to sleep in her millionaire mansion farm and she wakes up a few hours later in a pitch black darkness room. That sentence doesn't even make sense, but let's go with it. She's not hearing her chickens or her cows going whoa. She feels cold. Colder than usual, and she remembers how her mother told her and her sister when they were younger about their ancestor trying to stay alive through the coldest, longest, darkest winters without electricity back in the olden days. And Natalie remembers replicating these stories to her children too. Like, back in the olden days, girls, do you know what it was like? Some people lived through on their own in the middle of nowhere, just them, the mountains and the woods. No music, no neighbors, their meals were simple, and their lives were honorable. By day, they caught, cooked, and cleaned. By night, they sat around the fire to keep warm, and the adults entertained the children with stories of great battles in faraway land. How does that sound, girls? How would you like a life like that? So Natalie would take these stories from her mom and pass it down to her kids, but she talks about it like she lived through those olden days. She didn't. She never truly felt cold a day in her life until now. And she thinks, oh, the power is probably out. But why isn't the generator kicking on? Relax, girl. She probably just needs to check the warranty on the generator. But for now, she's awake. Let's do the first thing that you must do when you wake up. Let's pray. Thank you, Father, for Caleb. Thank you for the inheritance. Thank you. Where's my blanket? Natalie's hand touched a thin stuff quilt. Something that you might find on Alibaba Express with no minimum purchase for like 0.0005 cents. What the hell is this? This is not her blanket. She had a duvet. A linen duvet, mind you. It's thick and heavy. Get up. Caleb is not right next to her. She reaches out and tries to grab her phone on the nightstand. She always charges her phone on the nightstand before going to sleep. But this time, when she tries to grab her phone, she grabs nothing but a walnut. A walnut! Instead of her phone. Where the fuck is her phone? She starts panicking and she falls out of bed. She screams at the pain on her knees and she quickly stops herself. Her hands are touching the floor. Why is the floor so lumpy and unfinished? Why is this room so cold and not insulated? Then it dawned on her. She has been kidnapped. Natalie starts panicking even more and she thinks, oh, someone must be here with me. They're gonna kill me. I'm too young to die. Too beautiful to die. It's always the young and beautiful ones who die. Then she hears hee, like children's laughter. That was creepy. Clementine, Jessa, Junebug. Natalie gets up and she walks towards the door. Oh my god, anyway. There's no suspense. I'm smiling. Natalie gets up and she walks towards the door and she walks. Hello? Is anyone there? Mama, we're having breakfast. Natalie moves quickly through the dark hallway to the kitchen and she sees her kitchen. Wait, this is not her kitchen, but it looks somewhat like her kitchen. Same island, same window, but there's no lights. There's only a fireplace. The fireplace in her original kitchen was just a decoration. This one is functional. This one's working and this one's keeping everyone warm. It's the only source of light and heat. Natalie carefully takes a seat in the kitchen next to two girls and two boys. They're not her children, but they keep calling her Mama. The older girl looks like a teenager, hair pinned. She looks like Clementine, but she's not Clementine. She's also the only one who's not looking at Natalie. Natalie sits there for a while and she gets up in a panic. This older girl only looks at Natalie when Natalie is backing out of the kitchen in disbelief and shock because Natalie is thinking this is not her home. Her home is a designer home. Internet famous. Hello, where did America's most beloved kitchen go? Where did no 5 million people would follow this? Natalie looks at the older girl and she immediately recognizes the look in the older girl's eyes. It's fear. Natalie knew fear well. She felt fear when she was reborn in her church for the first time. I mean, I think it's only once, but then once again when she gave birth for the first time. She didn't fear for her child or the pain during labor. She feared that she will never be Natalie again. She feared that she will only be Mama from now onwards. And right then, on the hospital bed, Natalie wished her child gone. Not just out of her, but erased from the world. Mama, the younger girl says, and it breaks Natalie's daydream. This younger girl, she got freckles just like Natalie, but her hair's messy. Half is braid neatly, the other one's long and loose. Natalie has never seen these kids ever before in her life. Did I say it's 2 girls and 2 boys? But this little girl is calling her, Mama, Mama, Mama. Where am I? One of the boys says, 8 years old maybe, but he's not her boys. He's not Samuel or Stetson. Barn. Go to the barn, the older girl tells Natalie. We don't know their name yet, so it's older girl or oldest girl, young girl, and 2 boys. Natalie follows the older girl's instruction. She gets up, she stumbles her way to the front door, and that is when she sees it. On the door, there's marking of different heights with different names. So this is like your kid, like how old they are at different years. Maeve, 1852. Maeve, 1853. Noah, 1853. Abel, 1854. Mama, 1855. No. No. Natalie rips the door open and there it is. Her barn. This is Yesteryear Ranch. Her barn is here. Her chicken coop is here. Her mountains are here, but there's no driveway lights, no lights above the entrance of the barn. This is not fancy. This is not a millionaire's barn. Where the fuck is her $30,000 chicken coop? This small shed, is not her chicken coop. And the chickens, these are not her ladies. These chickens are thin, less friendly, and sad, and oh God, help me. She's about to pass out. Okay. Natalie. She turns around. She sees Caleb. And Natalie takes a step back and Caleb stops walking towards her. This man's eyes are not Caleb's. They're dark, they're cold, and they're dead. They're not sweet. They're not spoiled. This is a stranger. He's an older man, but he looks like Caleb. Natalie. She wants to run. What's happening? Where am I? Christ. Caleb rolls his eyes, throw his hat on the ground, making Natalie gasp. You're home, Natalie. Now, for the love of God, just get inside before you catch a chill. Who are you? I'm your goddamn husband. I'm Caleb. No. Take me home. Whatever you want, I'll give it to you. I have money. I have a lot of money. You probably know that, don't you? Is that why you took me here? Do you want money? And Caleb starts walking towards Natalie. Natalie turns around and she starts running for it. She thinks that she's been kidnapped. She needs to run for help. She's screaming, help. But she trips and she falls down. Caleb walks over and tries to grab her, help her up, but Natalie spits in his face and she says, fuck you. That's the first time that she says that out loud in her life. And Caleb just stares at Natalie for a moment. And then he tells her, a good wife does not speak to her husband that way. And he backhand slaps her so hard that she passes out. Now, we're here. We somehow have traveled through time from the 21st century to the 1800s. It doesn't even make sense, but somehow here we are. we're gonna stay in the timeline of 1800s most of the time. Other times we're gonna jump to Natalie's memories, which is before she became a mother, when she's about to become a mother, then when she did. So everything before Natalie lost everything. So I will say present is right now, so 1800s. Then the other times I would just say Natalie recalls going to college, meeting Caleb, marrying him. I know it's a little bit like confusing. How is that even possible? Because right now the past is the future for some reason, right? For now, let's talk about the making of Natalie, how she was brought up before she met Caleb, because this is a huge part about her, as all our childhood would influence that. I think she was 17 years old heading into Harvard, and she would always remember her father telling her that she was so sharp, so smart. Natalie grew up without a father figure in her life. Her father passed when she was about 10 years old. At least that was what her mother told her and her sister. I don't think that Natalie even remembers much about her mother besides that part. So she and her younger sister was raised by their mother only. Her mother was and still is Natalie's main source of influence. Her mom always brought them to church. It was clear what was being taught at church, and just in that village itself, the job of a woman was to be a mother, a wife, and to keep the household clean, okay? And oh, don't forget to smile. That's somehow a job of her woman. Natalie's mom was a secretary at a local law firm. They were not balling in money, and that was why she was so excited to hear Natalie got a full ride offer to Harvard. Like I said, you gotta be smart to get an offer like that to a place like Harvard, right? Her mother was shocked in a good way because Harvard, but in a bad way too, because she didn't know that Natalie wanted to leave town. And Natalie knew why her mother was shocked. Why would Natalie want to go out in this world when the world has obviously lost its way? Natalie knew, because some women out there didn't know that they were women anymore. Some men didn't know that they were men. Nobody was giving birth. Humanity was destroyed, and the white race was going extinct. That is not my opinion, okay, guys? I don't know how many times I need to give that reminder. That is what Natalie is thinking. Now, let's talk about Natalie's younger sister, okay, Abigail. Abigail is 2 years younger than Natalie. Natalie is the older one. Abigail is the younger one, I believe, okay? By the way, Abigail and Natalie are so different from each other. Natalie knows Abigail was always the prettier one, but Natalie was always the more brainy one. Abigail is 2 years. Who's older or younger? Okay, I don't know. One of them is younger. I'm gonna put it in the comments, okay? Abigail is engaged to her high school sweetheart, a young dude with bad temper and a drinking problem. Abigail never wants to leave town, and Natalie cannot relate to that. But then if you think about it, then the village is not as perfect. Then it makes sense for Natalie to want to leave out into the world and see what it has to offer her, right? But anyway, let's go back to Natalie, okay? At the airport, and Abigail and her mom are sending her off. Their mom tells Natalie, remember, Natty, just remember to be kind. Everybody believes in something. You can reach anyone if you show them kindness. Be kind, Natty. I'm serious. Be nice. Isn't it odd to tell your kid repeatedly to be kind, especially they're gonna be gone for a while? You might be like, oh, call us, more often, eat well. If you need anything, just call. But that was not the case, okay? They wave, they say goodbye. Natalie boards the plane, and that is when her life began and ended, because Natalie jolts awake in present time. She's now with old Caleb and surrounded by a bunch of kids who are not hers, but for some reason, they keep calling her ma. Her left eye hurts from the slap. Her feet is swollen with blood from all the running on the ground barefoot. Her brain is ringing and spinning like she has a concussion. Natalie opens her eyes and she sees her body. It's streaked with grim and dirt, and she would check herself in the mirror, but there is no mirror in her room. Mama! And Natalie twitches. She sees the little girl standing in the doorway. She's wearing one of those pilgrim outfits, hair braided on both sides. She cannot decide if she should love this child or bash its head into the wall and run. This lady is going through something. It's Maeve, Mama. It's me. Maeve. Natalie loves that name. She remembers wanting Maeve to be her first child's name, not Clementine. Clementine didn't look like a Maeve if, TBH. Clementine suited her best. But this Maeve suits. So soft and watchful and so sweet. Maeve walks over to Natalie and brings her hand to Natalie's eye. And Maeve knows that's a bruise and she doesn't want to hurt her mom. Hungry, Ma? Come to the kitchen. Come have a biscuit. Maeve looks like she's 6 or 7 years old, but she speaks like a 3 or 4 years old. She looks so vulnerable, so gullible, and for a second, Natalie wants to take advantage of that. Like she wants to grab Maeve, shake her, and until she tells Natalie the truth, like where is she? Why was she taken from her home? How long has it been? Where are her children? Where are Clementine, Jessa, Junebug, Stetson, Samuel? And where is her baby? She was pregnant. 6 months pregnant. Where is her baby? Maeve guides Natalie to the kitchen, her little hand gripping Natalie's tightly, and she prays in her mind. Natalie prays, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Natalie reminds herself everything is a part of God's plan. But I'm not some sacrifice, am I, my lord? When Maeve and Natalie are in the kitchen, it's just the girls. So Maeve, Natalie, and the older girl. The older girl is making soap. So soap bars. She's making and stirring things and pouring it into a wooden grid. Now that is something that Natalie knows how to do very well. That was part of what made her famous. She remembers recording the tutorial and posting everything on internet with the caption, "Cleanliness is close to godliness." She also remembers the comments from her new followers. Lol, this video is still out of focus. Why is this girl even famous? Did someone accidentally lobotomize Mata Stewart? Where is that life now? The millionaire influencer life. Why is she here? How is she in the 1800s when she has lived through Instagram? Natalie feels Maeve drop her hand and tells her older sister that Mama wants a biscuit. But the older girl says no. And she watches the older girl teaches Maeve how to add lavender into the soap in their molds. And Natalie asks the older girl, Who taught you to add the herbs? The older girl replies, You did. It was you. Once again, how did Natalie live through YouTube and Instagram and now only be living in the 1800s in the olden days? In the real olden days, no generator, no 30,000 chicken coop, no money. Is Natalie even the Natalie that we talked about just now? One thing though is for sure, there is this one person in Natalie's life whom Natalie always thinks about. This person is like security checkpoint for Natalie, Do you check in on somebody on an old friend or acquaintances once in a while? That's the vibe, but you hate that person, okay? Natalie will always think about this person when she's feeling her worst, because no matter how bad her life gets, it's at least better than Rena's life. I want you to pay close attention to everything. I want you to pay close attention because Rena is gonna come back at the very end and they're going to compare themselves to each other. No, Natalie is going to compare herself to her one last time. Rena went to school with Natalie, okay? Rena was that cool girl who brought boys home. She always had a boyfriend. All the boys wanted her. Rena was roommate with Natalie. And trust me, Natalie didn't like it when Rena brought boys home or her friends over. As for Rena's friends, they called themselves modern women. I believe Rena comes from like a rich family or something like that. But yeah, anyway, people who go to Harvard, okay? These Rena and her friends, they call themselves modern women. Oh my God. Natalie still remembers the smell of Smirnoff with grapefruit juice on weeknights. The girls just talking about how they wanted to be wives and mothers, and yet they all hated men and kids so much. Talking about how bad nuclear families were. These families were designed to ruin the world, literally. That word, literally. They always ended their sentence with that word, literally. Why? Then Natalie's mom's voice would always echo in her head. Be nice, Natty. But Natalie hated Rena so much when one time Rena told her that she was by one of the boys in campus, Natalie didn't even believe her. The truth is, Natalie was allergic to being nice, at least to someone like Rena. Actually, to everyone in her life. That's my opinion. One night, Rena and Natalie went for it. Rena told Natalie that you think that you are so much better than all of us. You're mean, Natalie. You roll your eyes when we talk. You make little comments under your breath. You think that we don't notice, but we do. But you are extra mean to me. You ignore half the things that I tell you. I think it's because you are jealous of me, Natalie. Because I have a boyfriend while all you have is your imaginary friend, Jesus and Mary and the Holy Spirit. And Natalie's response to that, I'm not gonna lie, I took some notes, but not for the last part because we need that face, okay? I'm not jealous of you, Rena. If anything, I feel sorry for you. You are unintelligent and you lack creativity. But most of all, I feel sorry because a person like you will never know true wonder. Not once in your life. And also, I don't concern myself with the opinions of O's. And Rena grabbed Natalie's hair, and I'm sure you can imagine. And so, after that, they were not roommates anymore. Natalie finally got what she wanted, to live alone in a dorm, away from girls like Rena and her friends, the modern woman. Natalie can't help but think to herself, why do modern women hate men so much? Why do modern women hate kids so much? Why do modern women hate themselves so much? How can you have a full-time job and breastfeed at the same time? Ever since attending Harvard, Natalie actually stopped going to church until one day a girl came up to her and told her that she should join her church. Natalie did join them for one session before this, and her conclusion was, y'all are so dumb. These church people were dumb as a rock. Sharing a communion with them was like being stoned to death. But then this girl told Natalie that she looked unwell. And it was true, you know. Her hair was greasy, like Natalie's hair was greasy. She got huge dark circles under her eyes. She looked thin and sick, and Natalie softened. And she burst into tears because nobody would ever say that to her but her mother. Natalie was raised to believe that a woman's failure to keep up appearances reflected poorly on all other women. Natalie had never felt more at home than right now. So she joined the church at school. They were dumb still, but at least Natalie could survive that. And weeks after that, Natalie would meet Caleb for the first time inside that church. The first time they met, they only made eye contact. Then the next meeting, Caleb asked where she was from. Then after, Caleb asked if she wanted to go get some coffee with him. That was exactly how relationship developed in her church, and she liked it that way. I think that Natalie really liked that Caleb's background was so different from hers. Like, he came from this political, fancy American dynasty where she came from a small town with mother and sister with a father. However, Caleb didn't know what he wanted to do with his life. He just thought that he would always just stay in the big cities and become a senator, just like his father and four other brothers. So naturally, he was shocked when Natalie told him during one of their dates that she wanted to leave the city. She wanted to have a farm with chickens and live close to her mother. She wanted the mountains. She wanted to have kids, then continue studying theology. She wanted to do that part-time, of course. You know, you got to take care of your kids. That is what a good Christian girl would want, except for the theology part. They probably would just, go to church. But Natalie added that, just a little flair. Caleb didn't say anything when he heard that, but he would keep thinking about this and come back to her one day and tell Natalie that he had been thinking a lot about the farm and that he thought it sounded so very nice. He told Natalie to teach him how to manage a farm, that he would do a great job at it because he was a fast learner, he said. Caleb was also blushing so hard. Natalie just stared at him. Like, she just told him her plan a few days ago, and now he comes by and he's like, yeah, I'm ready. Natalie didn't know how to farm. What the hell is this guy talking about? And this guy just told her that he was all in on her idea that she doesn't even know how to start. This was probably the first time that someone liked Natalie. Like, no one before this, no boys liked her. Caleb was the first. And so on their third date, they talked marriage. Fourth date, they pecked on the lips and Natalie jumped back because they were hugging. And she felt Caleb pee-pee, boop, On their engagement day, Caleb flew Natalie's entire family out. You know, he's balling. Guys, the Kennedy of America. Wait, Kennedy of the story. His family paid for everything. And you can already imagine who else they flew out. Natalie's mom felt so proud when she saw Natalie. Look at you, Natty. You look like Jackie Kennedy. Let me see that ring. Natalie held out her hand and told her mom, it's an antique, just over 4 carats. Natalie, it's huge. Here's a lesson from Natalie to all of us. If you want to be a wealthy Christian woman and remain good standing in society, you need to show off your luxury and then deny them. Oh my God, is that a new Air Max? Oh my God. Oh my God. No, stop it. Is it like, you like it? I honestly didn't know what this was. I don't even know how much it was. Like, it's like he just surprised me, and I just learned how to pronounce it that day because I was like, what's this, Hermes? Natalie could barely believe that she was now that wealthy Christian woman. The longer she looked at those 4 carats diamond ring, the more sick she got. Maybe I should give it back, but I would launch a holy war before I ever part way with this ring ever again. I mean, I can relate. I don't know. I feel like some things in life, you look at it like this. You know? Back to Natalie and the ring. Plus Caleb. You know, Caleb told her the ring. That was the only ring that suited her. The perfect diamond for a woman like her. She was the flawless woman. So here's 4 carats of timeless piece of decoration for a flawless woman like Natalie. Then it was their engagement party. All you can hear is the Kennedy going, okay, I don't know how rich people laugh. Ha ha ha. Yo, some of them have some weird laugh, you know. Okay, I'm done. You get what I'm saying, right? They are doing the rich people laugh. They're back slapping people, and Natalie's mom looked at her and like, so this is what you want then, huh? Natalie, if you marry this man, you will ever be his smiling shadow. You will never be your own person. Natalie wanted this. Natalie's mom was surprised that she wanted this because she never thought that this was what Natalie wanted in her life. She always thought that Natalie would become something more brainy, like a professor, not a shadow of somebody else like Caleb. Back to present. The older girl's name is Mary. Natalie only found out when Mary introduced herself to her, when her so-called daughter introduced herself to her. Again, she thinks of the name more than, oh, this is my daughter. She thinks of the name Mary. Mary. Natalie remembers wanting to name her child in her tummy Mary. Caleb was the one who suggested to name the baby Mary because they found out before this that it's going to be a girl. Last she remembers, Mary was still inside her belly, but her belly's gone. Natalie thinks, is Caleb some sort of obsessive follower who somehow guessed what she wanted to name her child, kidnapped her, and got someone to play Mary in this life? But Caleb also looked so much like Caleb. Natalie simply cannot differentiate what is real and what is not. This is her property, this is her land, those are her mountains, but this is not her home and those are not her family members. So Natalie walks to the front door and she starts running into the woods. Again, she's trying to run away. Again, she hears her kids screaming for her behind her, but they are not coming for her. They're just standing at the house, watching her run away. She keeps running until she falls onto the ground again. But this time, she didn't trip. This time, she got trapped. A steel clamp hooked deep into her ankle on both sides. Then she screams and screams. She keeps screaming as Caleb grabs her back to the house. When Mary sees Natalie, she starts attending to the wounds immediately, and the smell, the ointment. Mary is applying something on the wound and it smells like bacon grease. And Natalie screams, I need stitches. I need to go to the doctor. Call an ambulance right now. They don't have phones. They're far away in between two mountains. And how would the ambulance get here in time? No helicopter is going to come here and get her. So no ambulance, just Caleb and one thick needle and some thick ass thread. I was trying to practice how to say that word, but yeah, it's horrifying. And Natalie falls into a deep sleep without numbing cream or any sedative, just pain. Natalie wakes up again around nighttime, and in the kitchen, she sees that her leg is bandaged and elevated on a chair. Every bit of her feels broken. Then she sees her kid making dinner, and she thinks, look at these perfect little homemakers. Big fat. She hates them, sorry, God, but Natalie opens her mouth. Excuse me? And Natalie, the older girl, is like, ignore her. Don't answer her. But Maeve is excited, like her mama is awake. She's like, yes, mama. Natalie tells them to take her back home. She begs them to take her back home. But Mary cuts her off and asks Maeve to leave the room, to grab some wood, just get out of the house. Maeve looks at Natalie for a moment. She looks so sad, but she nods at Mary and she leaves to grab some wood. As soon as Maeve is out the door, Mary tells Natalie, this is like their first conversation, okay? Mary tells Natalie, I'm only going to say this once, so listen closely. You are my mother and this is your home. This is your life. You are behaving like a child and you are not a child. You are a grown woman with children of her own to take care of, and do you know that? Your actual children cannot stand you when you act like this, especially Maeve. It makes her very upset. Now, I'm gonna give you two options. You can pull yourself together for dinner, or you can go back to your bedroom and shut the door. So which is it? Bed or dinner? We don't know if Mary is truly her child, but Mary does sound like she is 13 or 14. She does not sound very old. They're all very young and she's the oldest, okay? And she's the one taking care of the house. And this doesn't sound like Mary's first time dealing with Natalie like this. This could be real or it could be fake. But one thing is for sure, is that Natalie needs to find a way to live. She needs to bathe, eat, sleep, and she's here now. Regardless of how she feels that this is not her home, it's the only one that she has. She wants to tell Mary that she is not her child. This is not her home, but she's also hungry. She has not eaten in a few days, so she agrees to Mary's terms that she will try to behave and stay in the kitchen and eat. And so that they go just like that. Mary takes care of Maeve and Natalie at home. The two young boys follow Caleb outdoor, attend to the farm, do some man's work, which, by the way, some people call this like pink and blue work, like girls and boys work, which is quite interesting. But you know what? Let's continue. Around dinner time, the two boys would come back with Caleb stepping all over the house with their boots, and it cannot be clean. So it's a lot of work around the house. And then Caleb would tip off his cowboy hat and walks over to Mary, show her the catch of the day. Today's fish. Then Caleb would then go outside, skin the fish, cut the meat, come back, and Mary would then cook dinner. Maeve and the boys, they're very smart. When Mary asks Natalie to do something, and she will instruct people to do things, and Natalie doesn't do it, Maeve and the boys would just jump to it to do it for Natalie. Because genuinely, these kids care for their mother. But somehow Natalie doesn't think that this is real. When Natalie sees dinner, she thinks that it looks like shit. This is not like the gourmet Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube worthy food content that she did. This is some watery food with some vegetables and chunks of white fish and a small plate of biscuits. Are you feeling better, Mama? One of the boys asks Natalie. This boy looks just like Caleb. His voice so soft and light, but Natalie just keeps quiet until old Caleb asks her to answer the boy. And she could only manage, yes. Then they pray and eat. Maeve looks sad, as if she's eating her friends, the fish. Instead of eating the soup because it looks so disgusting, Natalie decides to go for the biscuit. The moment that she takes a bite, she could taste fresh butter. So delicious, so soft, so fluffy, and just a bit crumbly. And she munches down all her biscuits. After dinner, old Caleb and Mary help walk Natalie back to the room. And Natalie turns to Mary and tells her, You have poisoned me, those biscuits. Natalie is having a fever. We don't know how old Caleb managed to close Natalie's wound and whether he has disinfected everything. We don't even know if Natalie's wound is clean. Back in the 1800s, people died from fever. So yeah, Natalie is having a fever and somehow, back in the olden days, in the 1800s, Mary could feed Natalie some thick liquid. It tastes rancid, like cherries, not the nice cherries, like thick cherries, like those cherries are trying to mask some other tastes, if you catch my drift. Something that will make you drowsy. Somehow in the 1800s, Mary got her hands on that. When Natalie wakes up again, she asks Maeve, who's sitting right next to her, where she is. Maeve, oh my god, she's just like a sweetheart, okay? She is so cute. She is such a sweet girl. Maeve looks at Natalie and tells her that we are home. We are home. Our home is called Yesteryear. And so back to sleep Natalie goes. She's recalling her wedding with Caleb. It was a luxurious wedding held in Caleb's parents' estate. They have 400 people attending. As soon as the pastor told them the magical words, "I now declare you man and wife," Caleb grabbed Natalie's waist, turned and dipped her low again and told her, "I can't wait to taste you tonight." Then at reception, Natalie's sister told her that she might be pregnant. She was 21 years old. Natalie's sister, Abigail, was known, to be the prettier one, but look at her now. Married to her high school sweetheart who was always drunk. They had their wedding in their backyard. In his backyard, Abigail told everyone that she cried all night at her wedding because she was so happy. While her husband just laid in his parents' yard, drunk asleep. Is that even possible for you to be happy? Natalie wouldn't tell Abigail that she knew that her life was so much better than Abigail's. So she told Abigail that a child is always a gift, Abigail. He would be so happy. You should tell your husband. Then Caleb came and take her away. And at nightfall, they start doing Dynasty and Caleb sighed because, like Mrs. Charlotte York from Sex and the City, she didn't believe in going down, down, down. She did not want no whistle. She didn't want to blow no whistle. She told Caleb that they will only do it the normal way without a whistle. And so they did. She felt nothing. It didn't even hurt. She has never done it before and it didn't hurt. She didn't bleed or anything. It just felt like a sponge moving near her tummy. Like Caleb was cleaning her from the inside out. Should I laugh? No. Caleb, Caro Claire Burke. Where did you get this? Who taught you this? Who was your inspiration? What happened? Back to Natalie and Caleb's bunch, okay? But that did the job because Natalie got pregnant with Clementine and she remembered bumping into Rena at school. She was 6 months pregnant and Rena was shocked. Like, you're pregnant in school. You're 6 months pregnant. You're glowing, Rena said with a cigarette, and Natalie signaled for Rena to get rid of it, and she did. I got married last summer to a man named Caleb Mills. He's a senior. Do you know him? Everybody knew of Caleb Mills because everybody knew Caleb Mills' father. Rena echoed exactly that. So, tell me, Rena, where are you off to this summer? Oh, I got a internship at Mackenzie. And Natalie thinks, of course. That was what she wanted to do too. Work a job that was competitive, respectful, and well paid. Get a job at a firm, get paid 6 figures, and work herself to the bones with nothing but cocaine and Red Bull in her system. And all around her, just men who screw around with a handful of women in the office nonstop, personally and professionally. Rena's life was going to be so difficult from now onwards. That job is hard to keep, even harder to climb. Even if she does get promoted, she would get more responsibilities, more work, more hours, and then she will have to manage whatever free time she has left to work out, see friends, and date. And that promotion might not even come with a high pay jump because she's a woman. Maybe one day, Rena marries, but when she finally thinks it's time to have children, her doctor would tell her that you're bees. Your body is like a 60-year-old. Ain't no 60-year-old trying to pop up children on a regular basis. Boy, oh boy. Say she did manage to get pregnant, she would be fat and ugly and her husband wouldn't want to touch her anymore, and then what? Her childless friend wouldn't want to hang with her no more. Her career would be failing and her marriage would be gone, and oh my god, Rena would be so sad. Natalie could see the pain in Rena's eyes, but she said, well, congratulations to you too then, Rena. I know that those internships are so hard to get. I decided to leave school. Caleb is going to finish soon and I will finish mine online. We really want to spend some time in Paris before the baby comes. Then Natalie waved goodbye to Rena, and there went the first angry woman in Natalie's life, Rena from Harvard. When Natalie gave birth to Clementine, she was disgusted with herself. Like, she thought that this whole thing would be fairies, like rainbows, unicorns, and all of that. Why didn't people tell her how ugly giving birth was? How gruesome and messy it was? Natalie's mom was there with her, but all she could offer was, it's only natural, it will pass. Natalie's mom, like I said, is a huge part in Natalie's making as a person. Natalie's mom is so sharp, so strict, so religious, and so fake. I'm sorry. That's the only way to describe it. Like, she puts up a front, but it's not her fault. Listen, okay? Natalie's mom raised her and Abigail alone. She was the sole breadwinner. So you can imagine that probably made her very resilient in some way that are both healthy and unhealthy. And she didn't have a lot of money. And I'm guessing that like therapy is going to church on Sunday, and going to proper therapy might, I don't know, get some judgment from people around them. But that's the case, okay? Natalie didn't understand how it would pass, like how this was going to be okay. She didn't recognize Clementine. Clementine didn't look like her. She didn't want Clementine around her, but everyone said that Clementine looked just like her mama, and Natalie cannot deny it. When she looked at Clementine, she felt that her baby was evil. A lot of people read this and says that this is evident of postpartum depression or just a really bad postpartum experience. I've also seen people going on mama retreats right after giving birth. So they're not like walking around, but they're staying in a hotel. Everything is provided for them. They have some space for the baby. I would assume that this is to let the mom relax and just not have the risk of postpartum depression. But Natalie, even if she had the resources for that, she didn't know that this was something that would happen to her. I assume that this was not something that she thought would ever happen to her, because remember, Natalie thought that she was the perfect Christian woman. Every Christian people's wet dream is Natalie, according to Natalie. Natalie was obviously going through something, and all that Natalie's mom could offer her was go take a jog, like go out and walk with those fresh stitches. And yet the mom said, go out, go for a walk. You will feel better. Horrendous idea. I'm sorry to make this about me and what I have read. Guys, I remember the day that my aunt gave birth, and she told me that she saw a woman standing and bleeding along the hallway because her stitches ripped open while she was walking to the toilet. Guys, oh my God. But back to Natalie, okay? Natalie's nurse heard her mom's suggestion and she was like, no, hell no, that's a bad idea. Natalie's mom just rolled her eyes and asked Natalie, what was all the fuss about? Like, why are you so upset? Like, you just gave birth. You're gonna feel better soon. Like, why are you so upset? And Natalie cried out like she can't do this. Like, she was starting to panic. And Natalie's mom told her nothing again but, oh, Natty, of course you can, because you have to. Get up. And so Natty wakes up in present time, and Mary is right in front of her. Mary tells her that her fever is okay now, and Natalie tells Mary, you people are criminals. You will rot in jail for what you have done to me. And Natalie falls asleep again, and when she wakes up this time, Maeve is sitting right next to her, and this time Natalie greets her. Morning, sweetie pie. Maeve immediately lights up again. She's such a sweet girl, okay? She climbs on top of the bed. She curls her hair into Natalie's hair. How's your foot, mama? It honestly hurt a lot. Poor mama. Maeve, Mary wants me to get out of bed, but what in Lord's name am I supposed to do? Mary wants Natalie to stop sleeping and help her with housework. You can imagine taking care of a home for 6 people alone is not easy work. Mary is the only one doing the cooking, cleaning things around the house, and taking care of Natalie's wound. Natalie does not want to help Mary with anything because she thinks that she has nothing to do with this house or these kids at all. Like, why should she be here? She's kidnapped. That's what she's thinking. Maeve suggests to Natalie that they can go see the little ladies. They can attend to the coop, the chicken coop. And Natalie agrees. She asks Maeve to pick a dress for her to wear, but every single drawer that she opens are filled with ugly, depressing fabric, and Natalie misses her own clothes. Branded sweaters, fluffy, fitted, and oversized. She looks best in lilacs, chocolates, and vanilla. She had someone to analyze for her. Not these ugly colors, these depressing fabrics, colorless, stiff things. They're not even clothes. They look like they are for dead people. But she picks one, Maeve picks one out, and they go out to see the chickens. So as soon as she leaves the house, she sees the sky. I think that is the only beautiful thing in her mind right now. The sky is light purple. It's early in the morning. Maeve guides Natalie down some steps, and Natalie slowly limps forward, but blood is starting to rush to her legs, and it feels so hot, like her leg is going to catch on fire. And Natalie feels the sudden urge to want to bash her head against something because, you know, when you are so stressed and like, you know, so much anxiety, you want to bash against something, but hopefully you don't. Just watch my video. Take some vitamin C. Last night, before she drifted back to sleep, she had told Mary that they were going to rot in jail for what they did to her, remember? Natalie also tried to convince herself that she was, you know, maybe on a set for a show. Anytime now, someone's going to jump out and say, "Cut! You are at Universal Studio, thousands of miles away from your home. It's all a big, fancy, expensive illusion. Even the trap, even the pain, all just a magic trick." And Natalie is starting to lose hope. Like, that is impossible. This air is so fresh. It's impossible for you to replicate in a studio. Natalie turns to look back at the house. She sees Mary beating a rug at the front porch, like something that you would do in a movie. Natalie turns back to Maeve, who is at the chicken coop already, and she slowly limps towards Maeve when Natalie sees something in the dirt. Something small and black. Oh, Natalie recognized this very well. Natalie bends down and picks it up. It's plastic. It looks like a broken piece of microphone. The kind that you clip on your shirt collar. Natalie has used this 1,000 times over, so that means it could be real. This could all be fake. This could be a show. But she didn't go to the film set. The film set came to her. And that is where I leave you for part 1. Tell me what you think of Natalie and the whole situation. Tell me what you think of the story so far, okay? This is a thriller that is so different from all of the thrillers that we usually do on this channel right here. I believe that this book has opened up a whole new TBR shelf for thrillers about Tradwife. Yo, I got way too many books in my TBR, but you bet I added those to my TBR too. Anywho, part 2 will be up next week, so make sure to subscribe, like this video, hype if you're feeling a little bit generous, and show some love for your girl in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you, and I will catch you either in the comments or in the next video, but hopefully both.